Hello from the future, everyone. This is your pal editor, Jimmy, who's just working on this episode. We got to talking quite a lot during this episode. We cover Fantasia up in the first half, and then we did have to get into Deadpool and Wolverine. So what we've decided to do here is the episode is going to end sort of after our non-spoiler conversation about Deadpool and Wolverine. And then we just kind of went off from there. So we're going to put this out in two sort of parts. We're going to have this regular episode here, and then we're going to have a bonus episode where it's all spoilers all the time for Deadpool and Wolverine. So just giving you a heads up for how the episode's going to end. It might be a little bit abrupt. I'll come back and say, turn tape over right after that. And then we'll be back in a bonus episode for you, where we talk all of our spoilery thoughts for Deadpool and Wolverine. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Finger Guns Podcast with Tony, David, and James. I am your co-host, Jiff, standing for the James International Film Festival, and I am here, as always, with
Big T, Tony P.
Yeah.
Hopefully non-echoey Dave.
Oh, no, you're finally not echoey.
All right.
Apologies to all of our listeners for the audio quality on the last one. I did have a couple people reach out to me and be like, "The fuck is going on?"
Chaos.
And I'm like,
is what's
chaos.
going on.
It was too many people.
It was a fun experiment.
It really was.
And it doesn't. You prep me for something sounding worse than it does, but I do understand that some people might have been a little disappointed, and I apologize for that.
It's all good
because I was the scheduler that day.
Yeah, we tested something. We found the ceiling.
Yes,
we can't go to that point anymore, and that's nothing against Matt or Greg. They were great. Great
yes,
guests.
and they'll both be back.
And they will both be back, but probably individually.
Yes.
Not together. Not that together they're a problem. It's just together they're too many people.
We'll kick Tony off that day.
Well, I mean, bye, buddy.
Bye, buddy.
Okay. But anyway, we're back, and as I may have said, I'm Jiff for the James International Film Festival, or the Jimmy International Film Festival. I don't remember what the fuck I said anymore, but
I said the James.
The reason is because this podcast is going to TIFF, baby.
Woo-hoo. We got accredited for TIFF.
I can't even believe 3 years of doing this podcast and it all led to this big moment.
Yes.
I still probably won't believe it's real until we're in the theater.
I'll believe it's real, movie. Tony. I'll believe it's real when I have that accreditation badge that says James Himatuzia, the Finger Guns Podcast.
Right.
At that moment, I will probably weep.
I might cream in my shorts the second I see it.
It wouldn't even be my name that I cream at. I would be creaming at Finger Guns Podcast.
We've had the past before. That's not new to us. It's this
and the you guys don't have a physical one, so you'll have a physical one.
No, I do have a physical one from way back. Yeah.
From 2019.
Yeah, 2017.
I mean it's 2019.
2019.
2019. Yes,
2019.
Yes, it's 2019.
Yes, it was 2019.
2019.
You are correct.
It was in the before times. No, I mean you don't have one that says Finger Guns.
Well, yes.
Like none of us have one that's Finger Guns. Because all the ones we've done
are virtual.
Yeah. So it'll be nice to have one that we're doing physical.
Yes.
That says Finger Guns with Tony, Dave, and James. So that'll be amazing. But yes, so get hyped for that, fam, because we are going to hit TIFF and we are going to hit it hard. Yes.
I am going to abuse the shit out of that pass.
I mean, you are going to do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to do my best to maintain my own peace and sanity through the 10 days and carve out my schedule. And you two chuckleheads can go as hard as you'd like.
We know our limit. We did pretty well for ourselves last year.
I'm ending at 6 p.m. Like as soon as 6 p.m. is like the cutoff.
You and me, homie.
Unless it's like a huge ass world premiere.
I will get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I will be there from sunrise until dinner time, and then Saya fucking Nara.
I think we did very well for ourselves with our planning last year.
Yeah.
I think we can maintain
less parties.
I would like to say, if we can find a way, if there's a screening that works, I would like to go to a Midnight Madness screening. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time
since I've been to one. I will find a way to make that work.
James wants to get fucked at the Rat.
He wants to get fucked at the Rat.
Man,
I want to get pegged at the Rat.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, I'm not going to go that far.
Because I haven't done a Midnight Madness at the Rat yet, but
same.
I can't even remember the last Midnight Madness we did. Was it Halloween? Was it Halloween till 2018?
No. Well, I did The Man Who Feels No Pain, I think is what it was called.
Okay.
It was a Hindi movie in 2019, and we also did Color Out of Space.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was Color Out of Space.
Which fucking that sucked, but we did get to meet Nick Cage afterwards.
Fucking met Nick Cage. How the fuck did I forget about that? Jesus Christ.
We did.
Amazing.
Mr. Cage, may I have a photo? Yes, you may. All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Cage.
Yes, that was incredible.
My heart stopped.
I stood behind and watched it all happen.
You're in my picture.
I know I am. I
love
loved
that
it.
he's wearing that fucking stupid hat.
It's
Wear
great.
fucking sunglasses at 2 a.m.
It's
Whatever.
so great.
It's okay.
He can do whatever
He can do what he wants. He can do what he wants.
But anyway, that will be in September.
Yes,
For right now, we got some shit to cover.
we do.
We got some Fantasia to cover.
Yeah, we're gonna get fucking weird, ladies and gents.
Let's get fucking into this.
Fucking weird.
Let's get into this. This is like Tony's podcast, man. It's just weird. It's a Shudder Minute, but for 90 minutes.
Fuck me up. Let's go.
Okay, so before we get really weird into this, before I could see Tony foaming at the mouth, I just wanted to plug that we have 3 interview episodes up right now. One is not from Fantasia; it's from prior to Fantasia, which is National Anthem that Tony and I did with writer-director Luke Guilford and star Eve Lindley.
Yes.
Which was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, you guys look like you had a good time. I enjoyed listening to that interview afterwards.
Yeah, that was great.
It was wonderful. He had a cowboy hat on.
Yep,
Loved it.
yep.
He
Loved
was
it.
badass. Absolute badass.
Yep.
And then James and I, for Fantasia, we did one interview with Aunt Timson for Bookworm.
Yes.
Which it was mostly about Bookworm, but we got into 35 millimeter at the end. And you know what? I think we could have had him talking for another 30 minutes just about 35 millimeter.
It was a fun fact. He's the world's largest private 35 millimeter collector. Like he has the largest collection
in the world, or was it in like the southern hemisphere?
World.
There you go.
Damn.
He's as a private collector. So and apparently, so yeah, we got him on topic. And as we were going through, they were like, you need to wrap this up.
Yes. So for all the listeners out there, when you're doing one of these virtual interviews, the PR people kind of give you a little heads up, like a little note that says, hey, your time's almost up, because you only get a certain amount of time with them.
Correct.
With the big stars, I think we would get like 2 minutes maybe, but with some of these other people we get about 15-20, which we're pretty satisfied with. So we got the little note that said, hey, you need to wrap it up, like we have the next person needs to do their interview. And then we talked for like another 5 to 10 minutes just about 35 millimeter. We got multiple things, say that we needed to wrap it up. And he, you know what? I wish we didn't, because we got him talking, and I think he could have just kept talking about it.
That's amazing.
But that one was a great interview. And then we, this past week, we just interviewed writer-director Carl R. Hearn and friend of the podcast, Dale Dickey, about the G.
Yes.
Which is another wonderful film. We'll talk about that one in a sec. But
I mean, we've been joking about friends of the podcast for a long time. But Tony, we official title.
I fucking heard it.
A friend of the podcast, Dale Dickey. She's not your friend.
That's fucking rude.
Friend by you can have
friend by association.
Wow.
You can have friend by association.
You know what? We got to interview Dale Dickey again.
Just so she can meet you.
You know what? I'm down with it. Dale was awesome.
She was great.
She was great.
I am so fucking jealous. I'm heartbroken. I missed that.
You should be. You should have definitely made some time for that one. I know. I know you were on the beach somewhere doing your thing.
Even better if you checked in from the beach and then Zoom call. They would have been like, the fuck.
What is this guy doing?
Hey guys.
It would have been worth it, buddy.
That probably would have been worth it. If I had better Wi-Fi, fucking resorts.
Resort Wi-Fi. Oh, we know. It barely functions.
Resort Wi-Fi. But so if you haven't listened to those interviews yet, you definitely should. They're all terrific. I think they're all terrific, but they were all terrific interviewees, and I really enjoyed getting the chance to talk to them.
Same.
And all of those movies are worth watching. But I think we should just since we're going to start with Fantasia, why don't we start with the G? Just because we just already talked about it.
Let's go.
So, Tony,
since you didn't get to be in the interview, tell me about the movie.
Yeah, tell us about the G.
So I opened my Fantasia Film Festival with the G.
That was your first one?
That was my first one.
All right.
And I absolutely loved this movie. Quick overview. Corrupt legal guardian puts a elderly woman in care in order to
And her husband
in order to take her property. And she seeks revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he fucked with the wrong elderly woman, let me tell you.
They picked the wrong lady.
This sketchy organization fucked with the wrong lady. And they I'm going to tell you, they found out.
Yeah.
They fucked around and found out, let me tell you.
This movie was an absolute banger. I was on board from fucking start to finish. Dale Dickey, holy shit.
Yeah, man.
Absolute firecracker.
Yeah.
So she's usually a character actress, and you would definitely recognize, if you saw a picture of her, you would recognize her immediately. But she is the de facto lead here, and she crushes it.
Yeah. Absolutely steals every moment, takes your entire breath away.
Seriously. Yeah. And she is just like a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Like she only I think only shows like one or two emotions, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just very stone faced.
And you're on this ride and you cannot look away.
Yeah.
And I like how they develop it, how you don't know right away. I like that there's a mystery element to it.
They're still pretty vague with the backstory too. They don't blatantly say it, right? Yeah. But they lead to it. You can obviously connect the dots, read between the lines.
That she has a past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And then her chemistry with her, so she is the titular G.
Yes.
And then her chemistry with Roman Denis, who plays her granddaughter, is just exquisite.
It's great.
They're awesome together. Yeah. Even when they're just mad as fuck at each other, there's just still just a wonderful intimacy to their scenes that I really love.
Yeah.
It's very it's a very lived in performance, right? Because you can actually you can feel the tension, you can feel their emotions, right? And that's something that you don't normally see, especially in an indie movie like that. I just really loved their relationship.
I loved everything on display, the blend of genres that is happening in between everything.
I think he threads the needle between the genres is very well, and I like the elder abuse, elder care kind of angle to approach it with, which is definitely a subject that more of us should probably know about
and pay attention to.
Definitely.
But this was an excellent feature.
Yeah, it took me by surprise because I put it on late at night because I was going to go to bed, and I was like, I could maybe watch a little bit of this, and I stayed up into the late night watching this.
Yeah,
there's a little bit near the end that I think could have been tightened up a little bit.
Sure,
but overall, I was very, very satisfied with this, and I was very satisfied with the turns and the dark, bleak humor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was actually kind of hilarious at some points, and it's just oh no,
right. Right. But I was very satisfied with this film, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah. So it's definitely should be on your list.
Big recommend.
Big recommend.
It's in my top 3 right now.
Yeah. So when this one comes out, we'll definitely be talking about it again. Yeah. But
we will let you know when and where you can find it, but we will champion this movie to the end because it is so fucking good.
And we have to. She's our best friend now. Yes, so we have to. We owe it to our best friend, Dale Dickey.
This is true.
Let's change gears completely and talk about 4 p.m.
4 p.m. What a lovely little film.
James, tell us about 4 p.m.
This was fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So a couple moves to the countryside, he retires from being a professor, moves out. They move out to the countryside to a nice little home in Korea. By the way, I should mention this is a Korean film.
We probably should have started there, and then people will be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we get it."
Yeah. And when they move in, for some reason, at 4 p.m. every single day, their neighbor comes over
invades their home and sits down. At first, it starts off with like, oh, getting to know your neighbor. And
they invite him over, don't they?
They do. They invite him over for tea or whatever, and get to know him.
And then it continues and continues and continues and continues, and to the point where they're just basically being driven insane by this man's existence and his insistence on coming over at 4 p.m.
every day
and
staying until like 6
and then leaving
and then it's like on the clock. They're like looking at the clock. It's 4 p.m. and he's knocking at the door.
Constantly. It then, you watch this couple kind of unravel, and their own psyches kind of start breaking as it gets weirder and weirder as the runtime goes on and on and on until the end of it, essentially.
Yeah.
It's something.
I like the go.
No, go.
I was gonna say I like the concept a lot.
Yeah.
And I like the fractured psyche and how it's slowly driving them crazy, and then how weird it gets later when they bring in the wife.
Yes.
Like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a commercial for Tesla, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. In not the greatest way, but
Tesla can do FaceTiming in there. How the fuck do they?
Don't ask these questions.
Yeah, don't ask questions.
Korea's living in 2150 and it's fine.
Yeah. 2115. Like they're living in 3024. Anyways, South Korea, that is.
South Korea.
Yes. Yeah.
But I felt like it just gets to a point where you're like, okay, you need to give me something to latch onto. You need to give me, like, you can make it enigmatic as you want, but there should still be like this one little nugget that you need to put there. And I felt like that little nugget wasn't there.
Yeah, correct. It just kind of, because by the time it got to the ending, I was just like, oh, okay.
Like, I love the ending.
I do too.
I do love the ending.
It didn't leave me full. Like, it left a hole somewhere.
And I love how you guys bring up the ending, because I think I said this to Dave after I saw it. I'm like, I feel like with the narration, they tried to go a little bit more philosophical with the ending, and more like more of a metaphor.
Yeah,
and then totally miss it. Like, I didn't really get what they were going for. Don't get me wrong. How the ending plays out and everything, it's very weird, and it very plays into how weird the movie is.
Yeah.
But like Dave said, I just needed that little nugget to just, explain it better, because they don't really explain why the neighbor's doing it, right? Like, it's just like this kind of mystery. I feel like if they just like a little pinch, like a fucking ball hair of information, it would have been able to like bring
that's
it home.
How you use that's your unit of measurement. A ball hair.
Yeah.
Buddy, when I was in film school, it was like when we were talking, and it's just like, you just need to trim this clip like a ball hair.
Yeah. It's a very small movie.
Oh,
it's a very, very small cast.
Yeah.
Sort of very intimate in the way that
very
it's
like
done.
One location, very minimum locations. Yeah.
But I agree with both of you there. It's
that's him, right? Sorry, I lost it.
Mm-hmm.
I was showing Tony a picture. The one in the middle is the guy who's fucking with them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue, James.
Yeah. It's good. I think it's good, but I think it's missing a little something.
Just to bring it home.
Just to fully wrap it up.
And I really like, I was asking Tony just to confirm. So the gentleman who plays the guy who's fucking with them is Kim Hong Pa.
Yeah.
And he is fucking maniacal.
Yeah.
But he's just like, he plays it so
just
straight.
In the stone face.
And I love his delivery. I love how he plays this character.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're never quite sure. Like I said, maniacal, because that's like kind of the tone the movie gets, but like he's playing it like totally straight, and like he might just be like, hey, I'm just hanging out with you guys type thing. And that's part of the problem, is that it's enigmatic, and where they go with the metaphors and stuff, it doesn't really amount to much.
No,
like I thought the first half was a lot better than the second half.
First half was great. The second half kind of started dragging its heels a little bit as we got towards the ending, and then the ending just kind of like, it happened, and I was like, okay, this is fine.
Like, cool beans.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. I would say like mid-range.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's fair.
What's next?
Why don't we go Carnage for Christmas?
Ooh.
So this one
certainly was a film.
This one I think is a controversial one for all three of us.
Sure.
I think.
That's fair.
I think that's a fair tone, a fair a fair way to put it.
Yeah.
So I will describe Carnage for Christmas because this one was on my list.
Yes, it was.
So I just need to pull it up here. If it pulls up. Yeah, I got it. So it is directed by, where is your name?
Alice Mayo McKay.
That is her name. And she is a young transgender woman. I believe she's only 19 or 20. And this is her 5th film.
Cool.
So last year she made a film called T-Blockers, which was at Fantasia that we didn't get to see. Which I still want to see because I feel like it might give me a better sense of how to properly talk about this movie. But anyways, so Carnage for Christmas, short version, a podcast,
True crime podcaster,
transgender woman. She goes home for Christmas and she knows there's some sort of like mystery haunted house story that kind of plagues the town type thing. And everybody kind of knows about it and they're not sure if it's real or not. And then somebody who looks like that killer, which was a Santa Claus, right? Yep. Starts murdering people. And she's kind of like drawn to it because she knows some of the facts that are happening and she's kind of helping the police and kind of doing her own investigation at the same time.
Yeah.
And like she might also be targeted.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the mystery was the Santa Claus, in the mystery, it was an old man who lived in the house and was a toy maker.
Yeah.
And you dress up as Santa Claus and give toys to the kids. So his weapons of choice as a killer were tools that he would use to carve wooden toys.
Yes. So my issue with the film, although it's not quite an issue, because I told Tony this afterwards, this movie was made for $10,000.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was made very quickly.
Yes.
And it's edited by Vera Drew, who did The People's Joker, which is a movie that just came out on VOD. And after James sees it, we can talk about it.
Yes.
For lack of a better term, it looks kind of amateur and it looks kind of weird.
Yep.
It definitely has a look to it that is not filmic. And at 70 minutes, it goes right through.
Yeah.
And it doesn't overstay its welcome, thank Christ. But I couldn't get behind how it looks.
Yeah. Dave and I were talking, I think before one of the interviews while we were prepping for something, and we were just loosely talking about some of the other movies. And I brought up this and I was like, there's a look, and you would understand what this look is only because you went through film school, but there is a look to a film that just is film school. Like there is a certain sort of quality to the filmmaking and to the lighting and to the color correction that just says film school. This has that quality, even though this is her 5th film.
Yeah, it's very film school-esque.
Yeah.
I will give points to the editing only because I saw People's Joker, so I know, and Vera Drew, she did edit People's Joker too, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So it's edited similar, right? So I would say like that's where I'm giving the points to, because like the editing, the way the scenes are like go together and like the flow and stuff, that's very interesting. But I want to be nice, but I really did not like the movie.
Neither did I.
It was. I can admire what the story they were trying to tell. I can admire that they only had $10,000, and to get it in a film festival that's as prestige as Fantasia, is definitely an accomplishment.
Sure.
But yeah, this movie was just not for me, man.
No.
I could not get behind it. There
was a tone that it was trying to strike, and like for part of it, I was kind of on board. I think maybe in the beginning when it was like kind of unraveling the mystery, but once she sort of got back to town, her old town, it just kind of fell apart for me.
And like the dialogue, it was just so like it felt amateurish.
Yeah. Things are too convenient.
Things are super convenient. I was just watching it and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
Like it I don't know, man. Just wasn't my bag.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I wanted to like it a lot more. The lead is Jeremy Moino.
Moino.
And they do very well. I really like them as the lead Lola.
Yes.
Zelda Adams from Hellbender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Did you not?
I didn't recognize her.
Like, I thought they did very well. Everyone else was kind of iffy. Whoever played the sister did not have an Australian accent, and that kept throwing me off.
Yeah.
That kept throwing me off, and I wish some of the kills were shown a little more. Like, there's the one aftermath that's very much like a Silence of the Lambs aftermath.
Yeah.
Or like a Hannibal aftermath, and it looks cool as shit. But yeah, to both of your points, I don't think it looks filmic enough, so it kept throwing me off.
Yeah.
So I want to see, I specifically want to see T-blockers, because I really wanted to see that last year. And I want to see if this is just her motif. And if that's just her motif, then obviously I'm going to feel a little more different about Carnage for Christmas. But just seeing it kind of just as a comparison to everything else, like I think this might have been the first movie I watched as well. I watched, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And I think even if I were to compare it to something else, even if this is the motif that she's working in, and that's fine, it's just not for me. I can't get on board with that. And it is what it is. I mean, if you like it, you like it, but it's not, I need a certain, I guess when I'm watching something, especially at a film festival, I'm looking for a certain level of quality to things as well.
But I admire, like you were saying, like I admire that this is her fifth movie.
Yeah,
and she's like 19
for a 19-year-old. Jesus,
good for fucking her.
Yeah.
And like I really want her to keep soaring.
Of course, 19 years old and already two films back to back in Fantasia. Like that's fucking fucking bravo.
Yeah,
and
continue working.
And T-blockers was her third movie.
Yeah.
So there's a movie in between.
Jesus.
So like she is not stopping.
Yeah.
Which terrific.
Great. Don't stop.
Don't stop.
We need new voices. We need, new directors, new writers, things like that. But, just improve your craft as you go.
Yeah. That would be, I guess. I think I would like to see a different like the same movie, but maybe done with a bigger budget.
Yeah.
More polished.
Yeah.
I think that would improve it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there needed to be like, I know I said it was 70 minutes and like in and out type thing. Great.
Yeah.
But I think there needed to be a little bit more at the back end. Because like right after you figure out who the killer is, obviously.
Yeah.
But like right after that kind of happens, it just kind of ends.
Yeah.
So I wanted a little bit more.
It doesn't kind of know what to do.
Yeah.
What to do at the ending.
Yeah. So I wanted a little bit more there.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I still want to see T-blockers. So
sure.
I will discuss that on a future episode.
Sure. I will be here for it.
And
what are we moving on to?
Why don't we do Chainsaws Were Singing?
Oh, Lord.
Which is an Estonian film.
It sure is.
And I love how it's described here. Where is it? It's Monty Python meets the Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Les Miserables ?
Yep.
And this movie is it's a gonzo it's a gonzo musical of the
simple premise,
the weirdest
yeah,
like think whatever you think.
What do you think is weird? Multiplied by 10.
Yeah, Tony,
you still I don't even think you still come close to it.
No.
Tony, what's the premise?
So simple premise: young lovers, Tom and Maria, get attacked by a chainsaw killer, and they're headed for an adventure of a lifetime. And it's told in a chapter like structure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Which is it kind of jumps around quite a bit, like the timeline.
Different perspectives of the story for sure.
Yeah. It sure is something.
So for me, if they ditched the chapter structure, and because this movie comes in just under 2 hours,
Just under.
So if they trimmed it down to about 90 minutes, I think the movie would have been perfect.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could see it. It definitely did feel long, especially towards the back half of it.
Especially the back half, because the first half just starts with such a bang. Yeah. Right. Because like it's fucking coming at you left, right, and center. I remember the first song from the Chainsaw Killer. It was about I would say the song's called Kill. Yeah. It's a very upbeat, very gonzo balls to the wall song. Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I remember I saw it when I was in Dominican, and then I was in the shower and I was singing the song to myself. Yeah. And Melissa's like, what the fuck are you singing? I'm like, oh, I'm singing this movie. I'm singing this song from this Chainsaw movie that I saw.
Were you singing it in Estonian?
What does he say? He says like, Kampai or something like that. Like one of that, like, right. So I just started just saying
Estonian for kill. Yeah.
Right. So I just started just singing that in the shower. So it's very catchy.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
But then it goes off the fucking rails.
I don't. You know what? I don't even think this movie has rails.
There was no rails from the beginning.
It was just
like this is the roller coaster ride from hell.
Yeah.
Like there are no rails.
The Les Mis song of the girl when the girl's just captured and she's like singing up like wishing basically like waiting for a hero. Yeah. Like.
It's wild.
It's
wild shit.
Buckets of blood, man.
It is very, very violent.
Like if there was a splatter zone in the audience, like you'd be getting thrown.
It is very violent, and it is very upbeat for some pretty gnarly content.
Yeah.
And I really want to give props to the gentleman who plays the killer.
Yeah.
Martin Roos.
He was the best part.
He kills it. Quite literally kills it.
Quite literally kills it. Yeah.
And it's very fun. Like it's a fun movie. And I think it would have been a blast to see with a theater, with a full packed screening.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely one of those midnight movies type things.
Yeah.
That like you kind of underground you just hear about and you're just like, this can't be real, and then you watch it, you're like,
totally real.
This is real. This is very, very real.
Yeah.
And that would be fun, but it definitely dragged out. It needed to be at least 15 to 20 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, you want to know where I checked out?
Where?
Forest Bukkake. That is.
Oh yeah.
That is where I checked out of the film. I was like, done.
You're right. The bukkake scene. Yeah, there's a let me tell you, gang.
There's a song, isn't there? There's a bukkake
there is.
song.
It's bukkake on Wednesdays, homie.
There is a bukkake song, and
it's Wednesday today.
I thought I was fucking hallucinating when I saw that. I was like, where the fuck does this go?
Why that's there doesn't matter.
You know what? Like we said, it's off the rails.
Yeah.
Is off the rails. I'm looking at the web page for it on the Fantasia site, and it mentions that it's indebted to Cannibal the Musical, and that was definitely something that I kept envisioning as we were watching.
Yeah. I noticed it like right off the bat, like at least within like the first 10 minutes, I was just like, oh yeah, this definitely it's indebted to Cannibal for sure.
Yeah. I mean overall I think it's gonzo, and it needs to find its sort of niche audience for it, because there is a specific type of person that will really like this. It's not me. I'm telling you that right now. I didn't love it. I really couldn't get on board with it, but I get it. I understand it.
I assure you, and I assure our audience and our listeners, this movie is unlike anything you will ever see in your entire lives.
Yeah.
This is a diamond in the rough, like once in a lifetime kind of fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Does it stick the landing?
Not quite.
Not quite.
But
it is definitely a sight to be seen for sure.
That is absolutely fair.
Yeah.
So I made a mistake as well. The killer's singing voice is Martoom, and I just want to give a shout out to Jano Pusep, who plays Jan, because he's great too.
Which one was Jan?
The other guy.
The guy who picks him up in the car.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And hangs out with him and has multiple wardrobe changes. inexplicably.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I just love that motif where the car keeps exploding.
Yeah.
Just for no
That was
reason.
funny. I mean, I did laugh out loud multiple times during this movie
No,
because it
it's-
was just fucking ridiculous.
To Tony's point, it would be perfect if it was shorter.
Yeah.
It's dragged out, and
It's-
that's the problem with it.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
the back half is a real slog to get through,
Yeah.
right? Because like especially because that first half is just hits you so hard.
Yeah.
It just needed to trim a little bit just to be better.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, it's definitely a wild sight to see.
It's something. It sure is something.
You can't even like
You can't properly describe it.
no, you can't. You really can't. What
Next.
we got next?
Next, we're gonna go with a movie you probably have heard of, and you're going to see probably have the ability to see
Ooh.
very soon. It's Tillman Singer's Cuckoo, which comes out in theaters next Friday, August 9th.
Yeah, I mean, we were at Dave and I were at the Playhouse yesterday, and they were promoting it coming out there in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah,
How crazy did that feel? Fucking watching the trailer. You've already seen.
that's the
it's a
feeling.
little weird, man.
You know what? That's just an elitist thing I like. I like going to the theater and I'm just like, yep, saw it. I just like that elitist feeling.
Well, laddie fucking da. Well, hopefully
you've had it for yourself too, buddy.
Not as much as you, elitist. Look at this fucking pretentious fuck.
This is true. He gets it more.
We're getting there. We're getting
We'll
there.
get there.
We got clout status at
Tiff
TIFF
is
now.
gonna help us cut through most of that.
Absolutely.
James, tell me about Cuckoo.
A family of a husband, second wife, daughter of that second wife, and original daughter from the first marriage. So blended family, let's call it, move to, I want to say the Alps in Germany.
Yeah, that's fair.
To a mountain resort. And
Because
as they
they're going to help him. They're going to help the guy who runs it
build a new resort.
resort.
And as they're there, our main character, Gretchen, starts uncovering things because things start getting progressively more and more weird. And it seems to be having an effect on her younger stepsister.
Would you say it's weird or would you say it's cuckoo?
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
I'm so upset at you.
Hey, you need a creepy guy to do a German accent? Why
Get
not
Dan
get
Stevens.
fucking Dan Stevens?
You know what? Dan Stevens, he plays the guy who runs the resort.
Yes.
And his German is impeccable.
Yes.
He was in that, what's that movie called? I'm Your Man.
I'm your
Yeah.
man.
And he did a perfect German accent there.
Yeah.
He spoke the entire movie in German,
but
yeah.
he had the perfect
Yeah.
accent. So
Yeah.
when he had brought it back here, I was like, yeah, I already know he can do it.
Yep. We know.
But
We know.
he is, you know what? He's off the fucking wall in this movie. Herr Koenig.
Oh yeah. Herr Koenig.
He's off the fucking wall in this movie.
It's something.
And it's such a layered performance, right? Because like it just starts and it's like a little weird and then it gets progressively more weird and then it's just like, oh no, there's actually something seriously wrong with this man.
Yeah. Yeah.
James, did you like it?
No.
Yeah.
It kind of it was like the air coming out of a balloon the further into this movie that I kept going. It was kind of like an interesting premise, I would say, off the top. I was like, all right, what the fuck is going on? But the more they kept revealing about what was actually happening, the less I liked the movie.
Okay.
It just kind of like, by the time you get to the end, I was just like, fucking end it already. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Like everything was so convoluted and ridiculous that I was just like, no, it's just not. No. And there's like ridiculous choices that continue to be made throughout the movie where Gretchen, like, it takes most of the runtime of this movie before she realizes, oh, headphones. Oh, that's good. Not just wrapping your arm halfway around your head and pretending that blocks sound. Like, what? the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
It was a bit on the long side for how it felt, at least towards the end. And yeah, then to me it was air coming out of a balloon by the end. I was just deflated and just over it. That's where I ended up. What about you? What did you think?
I wanted to like it more.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'll like it more on the second watch. My viewing experience was a little frustrating, only because the screener that we got, the sound wasn't the greatest. So when I was watching it on the TV, Melissa was sleeping beside me, so I would have it at like full fucking volume to try and hear it, right? And then all of a sudden a jump scare would happen, and the fucking like room would break, basically erupt, and I'm like, shit, got to turn it down, and it's like I'm constantly fighting with the volume, right?
That's frustrating.
But I liked it. I liked it because it was one of those movies where you have to look at what's not in the foreground. You have to look at what's in the background, because they're literally like, there's that one scene when they're driving out, right? And you see like everything like kind of like in the forest and stuff. I get why you don't like it, but like for me, like those are the kind of horror movies that I like, where those kind of psychological thrillers where they're fucking with you. They're not they're showing you something, right? But everything's happening in the background, and you got to be looking at the background because you know something's about to fucking happen.
Sure. And I mean, I'm not discrediting that either. I agree that, again, like to me, this movie got worse the more I figured out about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that it wasn't creepy and weird, especially up at the beginning where things were happening in the background that you're like, the fuck is happening? Or even the weird time loop thing that remains unexplained. But that was, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it was just the further in, the deeper in we got, and when they started revealing what was going on, that's where I went, I don't fucking care. Like, it was just the reasoning that they put behind what they made scary was a letdown for me. I was like, that's what we're going with. I mean, okay, but it's not great.
Yeah.
Everything leading up to there, though, yeah, I'm totally on board. I totally get it.
Yeah.
We haven't heard from you, Chuckles, over here.
So I did watch it twice. Because
first of all, applause.
Right?
Applause.
I wanted to watch it again.
Okay.
Because the first time I watched it, I audibly was like, what the actual fuck is happening?
Sure.
Like, I was going a little nut. I was going cuckoo because I was like, what
fuck is happening?
Fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of with James. There's a moment, and it happens in I think it's an operating theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm off. I'm out. I'm out.
That's the moment. That's the fucking moment. It's that's the moment where you're either on board or you're not.
Yeah. I'm out. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Now that I know everything, and I know what's going on, I'm gonna watch it again and kind of go in with that information and see how I feel about it. And again, I was like, I can't do it. I still can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm out. Like, it's creepy and it's fucking weird, and it is cuckoo.
Super
I think Hunter Schafer is awesome in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's great.
She's great.
She's very, very good. And so is our boy Dan Stevens. Like, Dan Stevens is off the rails.
Yeah.
Certifiably insane.
And I like the look of it.
Yeah.
And I like how it parses out the information.
Yeah.
I don't like where it goes.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not even that it's silly. It's just like, you're just like, what?
Yeah.
What? And I feel like it's going to be one of those movies that people see and they're going to be like, what the actual shit? Really?
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Also, criminally underuses Jessica Henwick. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Not okay with
Who
that.
is Jessica Henwick?
The stepmother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Criminally underuses her. She's just kind of
basically
there.
she's a ghost wandering through the halls.
The stepmother, there's one subplot that really pissed me off, is because when she was getting the headaches and they gave her the pills and stuff.
Yeah.
nothing happens after that. Like they completely like
That's what I'm saying. They don't really do anything.
Yeah,
with it.
like I was a little upset with that because I'm just like, okay, you're doing the pills and like you're leading up to something, and nothing happens. And I was just like, oh, okay, that was kind of a letdown.
There's also a subplot involving Gretchen's mother that you already know what happened if you're watching the movie, and you're just like, okay, yeah, that's clearly what happened type thing. But they play it like it's a mystery.
Yeah.
And then they kind of open it up and they reveal what happened. It's like, but I already knew that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take you don't need to be.
It's not rocket science. Like it's pretty fucking obvious.
It's pretty obvious what you guys are getting at here. Yeah. So why is it like being treated like
it's a huge reveal?
Like a huge reveal. Yeah. Like if it was a huge reveal, then you shouldn't have made it obvious from the start.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah.
So I thought that bothered me almost as much as the weirdness of it.
Yeah. I would agree with you. That was a strange part of this movie that I was just like, what are we doing? Like what are we trying to accomplish with the way that this is being told to us?
Yeah.
It just was I don't know. The more it kept going, the less and less I liked it. As I think like sort of my big takeaway from it is like there's a version of this movie that I probably would have liked a lot more, but this was not it. Like it's just
those are all fair points.
Yeah.
They're all 5 points. And because I haven't seen Euphoria, I don't really know Hunter Schafer's work.
Neither do I.
But because of how great she is here, I like look forward to what she does next.
Yeah. There's definitely nothing against Hunter Schafer. I think she's an excellent part of this movie.
Yeah. The only reason I stayed on board was because of her.
Is because of her performance. Yeah. And Dan Stevens.
Obviously.
But I like the last 20 minutes, right? Like when shit hits the fan, like it hits the fan. And like I know you guys were already off.
Yeah.
But like I was into it. Like it was like
I like the pacing.
Yeah.
I like the pacing.
The atmosphere, the music, the just the way it plays
the fact
out.
that Dan Stevens and the cop go from being crack shots to being fucking stormtroopers that can't hit shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that
I was screaming at the TV. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me, guys?"
Yeah.
It's.
I would say it's a unique watch. It definitely has its faults and it definitely has its strengths. It's inconsistent. But there's parts to like, there's parts to dislike, and it's one of those movies where you're either on board or you're not.
Yeah,
I think that would be the biggest.
I'm looking forward to the mainstream audience seeing it and finding out if they're on or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but Neon's having a great summer with what's the one we just talked about? Long Legs. So it'll be interesting to see because this movie was supposed to come out in May, and they delayed it till August. So I'm curious to see if they're going to keep the momentum up. Like it's not going to do as well as Long Legs, but I would be interested to see how well it does.
Yeah. Same. So what do we got next?
Mr. Tony, I want you to tell us about Kryptic.
Talk to me, Goose.
So, simple premise. A woman's search for a missing monster hunter and her growing realization that she is inescapably linked to a creature that is being pursued.
Huh. Okay.
Does that synopsis? Does that sound like something? Like does that sound
like a lot of things?
Sounds like a lot of things.
Were
like
you say
kind of like
copacetic?
I was about to say copacetic. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Do you understand anything that would be happening in that log line?
No.
Great, because the movie didn't make any fucking sense.
Okay.
Rough.
Dave loves this 80s movie called it's a wet film.
I like wet.
You do like wet. We here on the Finger Guns podcast do like wet films.
We support wet films.
We do support it. It's a film called Society.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
we've talked about it at length.
Those words have never once have ever said that I like Society.
Dave, you have the Arrow.
I do not.
You do not. Not yet.
Don't need it.
Not yet.
I'll wait for the 4K. Okay.
Christmas is around the corner.
I don't need the DVD Blu-ray combo pack. that movie. James, have you seen it yet?
No.
Fuck that movie.
I'm trying to understand the movie.
Yeah.
And I just don't.
Okay.
There are moments where it cuts away and it gets very society-esque.
Okay.
Where like bodies are melting together and like all that kind of fun stuff.
Neat.
And then I'm about to write this film off, and then the last half hour just goes in a completely other direction.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just out of a different fucking movie.
Huh.
But I will say the last half hour is kind of crazy.
Okay.
And the last 10 minutes, I applauded.
All right.
I was just like,
you stood up and did a golf clap?
I did a golf clap for the last 10 minutes because it is pretty fucking gnarly. And it goes to some dark places. And to be honest with you guys, that's all I really want to say about the movie. Because it just like it kind of you go in and then you're done.
Oh.
It's just it's just a whimper. It's a womp womp.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's a very cohesive experience.
It's not a very cohesive experience. There's a lot of things going on. And I just couldn't get behind it. This one wasn't on my radar.
Maybe there was a reason for that.
There was probably a reason. There was definitely a reason for that. But don't bother.
All right. Monsieur Dave.
What we got next?
Infinite Summer.
Okay. Talk to me.
So Dave,
you want me to describe what Infinite Summer is?
Do you?
Yes.
I just want to put this out there just to start things off.
Sure.
When I saw Dave watched Infinite Summer, I was like, "Hey Dave, how's Infinite Summer?"
Sure.
He was like, "I was not high enough for this experience." So I decided to take that at face value, and I decided to get high.
Yeah.
While watching Infinite Summer.
Right.
Did it help?
Dave, I still was not high enough for Infinite Summer.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wild.
So it's we're going back to Estonia again. It's an Estonian Spanish film.
Right. Estonian Spain. The team up I never thought would happen.
But it's in fucking most of it's in English.
And most of it's in English.
Wild shit. All right.
So it's about a young girl, or is she graduating high school, and she's trying to figure out what she's going to be doing next, right? Because she hasn't quite decided. So she has one older friend, and the older friend, and she wants to hang out with the older friend at the cottage type thing. And the older friend brings another friend who's supposed to be her age, but looks like she's at least 15 years older.
Oh God. All right.
Anyway, so she's a little pissed off at this friend, whatever. Sure. And they're dealing with boys, and but the younger one's not quite as interested.
Right.
And they do this app thing, which is kind of like a Tinder.
Yeah.
It's like a Tinder, but it's like a VR. It's called Extreme Dating.
Okay.
So it's like a VR thing. They put a little headset on, and then it does the Tinder thing, and then they can physically do it, right? Yeah. So they come across somebody who's named Dr. Mindfulness.
Okay.
They match with this guy, and he's developed an app for mindfulness.
Yeah.
And he wants them to kind of test it out, kind of use it type thing. Yeah. And there's like a little apparatus thing. Like you can see it in the poster. You can see it in the poster here.
Yeah.
And you kind of put like a little cartridge thing in, and then you kind of experience the mindfulness.
Sure.
So you breathe in some sort of chemical, I would say.
And then it's like a VR thing again.
Okay.
And it's not quite mindfulness that's happening. It's kind of fucking with the brain activity.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's where I'm going to leave it.
All right.
Because it doesn't make
a lick of sense.
It goes to some weird fucking places. And it's just kind of weird for the sake of being weird. There's definitely some metaphors that I didn't understand, and some allusions, and then there's
I checked out.
There's a lot going on in this movie that you have to keep up with. And maybe being high would help. Maybe this movie makes you go fucking high. I can see that there's an audience for this,
Yeah.
but it wasn't me.
All right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Being high does not help the experience.
All right.
It just makes you more confused.
Yeah.
But
okay.
the performances are very good. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names.
Yeah, fair.
Some of the visuals too were kind of cool, especially with like the VR stuff. Like I liked how like the VR dating stuff, right? So like you're in it, you got the headset on, and then the guy pops up in front of you. And then if you don't like where the conversation's going, they just go like this, and then the guy's gone. And then the next guy comes in, and it's like the guy's sitting there in the room with you. So I like that, nice. And I that's probably where the fucking future.
I like the technology aspect of it because it's not too futuristic.
Yeah.
It's
one of those, it's very modern, but it's futuristic at the same time. Yeah. You can see where the technology is headed.
It's Bumble already announced that that's what they want to do.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. Either way, though, but it's still like it's like a realistic. Kind of like you can buy that part of like the VR and how it looks and how they're interacting with it as a I don't know, I just think of like a movie like Blade Runner where they're like, we're gonna have flying cars in like 30 years type thing.
Okay.
And you're just like, okay, that's a stretch. And this is like not far-fetched.
Right. Got it.
But it's weird. It's very, very strange, and I couldn't get on board with it.
Okay. So
that's
a no from you, dog.
It's a no. It is most certainly a no from me, dog. I appreciate the audacity.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the originality.
Sure.
But it's a no from me,
dog.
But
it's a no from you, dog. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. That's a big time no from me, dog.
What do we got next?
Tony, tell me about Electrophilia.
Fuck
yeah. God, yeah.
So, Electrophilia, another film that has a simple premise. Girl gets struck by lightning.
You know what? I'm enjoying that every single movie that we've brought up today has just been the movie with a simple premise.
That's why I just got to point it out. It just has a simple premise. You know what I love about Fantasia? Simplicity.
Yeah.
Well, Infinite Summer was not simplistic.
I didn't say there's a simple premise for Infinite Summer. I let that part out.
Premise.
Electrophilia. Girl gets struck by lightning, wakes up 6 weeks later out of a coma, and basically weird shit starts to happen. And then she basically finds like a community of other survivors who have been struck by lightning.
Right.
And those survivors are kind of obsessed with lightning strikes, I would say.
Like trying to get struck by lightning again kind of thing, or just
not quite. Not quite, but there's like an electrochemistry thing going on. That because they just know there's something about them that only they understand.
Sure.
So they're having similar experiences, and they know
kind of like cult. I would say like kind of culty.
Okay. And like there's a guy, the top dog guy is like a scientist type thing, and he's experimenting with them, like not doing like fucking weird shit, but like just kind of like seeing how far he can take certain things.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like the whole thing is because you've been struck by lightning, your whole body chemistry and the electricity in your body is changed.
Got it.
Right?
Yes. So they're kind of obsessed. Like there's a bit that's kind of very Twister-esque where they're kind of like they're chasing electrical storms.
Yeah.
But it's more of just like how they're coping with the trauma of being struck by lightning and kind of what it has done to them.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting in that respect. I didn't love it, and it just kind of peters out at the end, which I wish it didn't. But I really thought that the lead character, played by Mariana Di Girolamo,
yes,
who plays the young veterinarian Ada, Ada. I thought she was very good in it, and I like her progression as a character. And
the leader, the guy
was also quite good. I don't remember. I don't know what his name is.
I'm getting it for you.
Is it
Moro Anglihiri?
German Palcios? Let's go with that.
All right.
Let's go with that. He's very good in it as well. And yeah, it's just a strange film.
All right.
It's just a strange film. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's just, I think it's fun that we're following this up from Infinite Summer because it's kind of like that same idea of like something's fucking with you.
Yeah. Okay.
But this one's a lot less strange and it's a little more based in trauma and and grief.
Yeah, less futurism, more grounded trauma-based reality.
Yeah. There's more motifs surrounding trauma and grief and motherhood.
Sure.
Because like the main character, she had a miscarriage, right?
No, she had early onset menopause.
Yes. And then the lightning totally switched it. And made her like ovulate.
Oh, wild.
So that's a big chunk of the movie as well.
Yeah. Right. And like there's a whole mystery surrounding the main character's mom too, right? That plays a big part and plays the big part of the trauma.
Right.
Reason why I wanted to see this is because they compared this movie to David Cronenberg's Crash.
Right.
I feel like they did it a disservice by saying that because it was nowhere near Crash.
Right.
It's not as like sexually charged. Like there is still like
I can see
there's similar
squint.
There's similar exactly what you said. If you can squint, you can see the similarities.
Yeah.
But I was the whole time I was watching it, I was like, okay, how does this compare to Crash? How does this compare to Crash? Right. And there's moments and there's some sexually charged scenes.
You see what I did there?
See what I did there?
I get it.
But yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to compare it to that. And like you kind of overly hype it by doing that.
You also have Daddy Cronenberg on the pedestal.
Well, Daddy Cronenberg deserves to be on the fucking pedestal, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. I wanted to like it more. I liked it more because I liked the whole thing on grief and I liked the whole trauma based thing because it is kind of the whole backstory with the main character's mom is kind of fucked up. And it does go to a very bleak and dark place when you think about it, right? And how that would affect somebody, right?
Yeah.
But like what Dave said, it kind of just peters out at the end, and I just wanted a little bit more.
Fair enough.
Well, I actually watched this movie when Melissa was getting a tattoo in Dominican.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun update.
Yeah, that's fun.
Very fun.
Did you get a tattoo?
I did not.
Oh,
no.
Pussy.
I wanted you to come home with a tramp stamp.
No, maybe next time.
Thank you.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, weak sauce.
We stand by it. Cool.
Yeah.
Next.
So,
are we gonna quick fire some things?
Yeah, we're gonna do some quick fires.
All right.
So first on the quick fire list, we're going to do Dark Match, which is the new film from Lowell Dean, who gifted us Wolf Cop and
cinema's masterpiece.
Wolf Cop.
Cop. And what was the second one called? Is it called like Another
Wolf Cop?
Which, if you guys have not experienced Wolf Cop, you need to stop. You need to just press stop right now
and go watch
Wolf Cop and then come back.
Like Canadian horror at its best.
Yeah.
Like definitely. Dave, what did you so think?
What's a dark go Dark Match.
So the quick on Dark Match is it's the 80s, right?
Yep.
It's the 80s. And there's a wrestling a group
small time wrestling company
who kind of does the traveling, and then the promoter gets a call who wants to bring his wrestlers in for a special dark match.
Got it. Okay.
The titular dark match.
Cool.
And when they get there, things aren't what they seem.
Right. Okay.
And things just get strange from there.
Fair.
And Chris Jericho's there, and he's kind of. Well, he's something, but
Stephen Ogg is there too, being Stephen Ogg, obviously.
Yes,
and Jonathan Cherry, who was in Wolf Cop,
Nice.
and another wolf cop.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
Without getting too deep into it, I think they could have done a little more with the premise, because I like where it goes. And I think there were a couple of scenes that could have been edited a little better.
Okay.
There's definitely some good bits in it. There's some really fucking gnarly kills. But what I would really want to say is I was really let down by Chris Jericho. I was expecting the Ayatollah of fucking rock and roller.
Sure.
And he was very muted.
Oh.
And like he plays a very like he plays the antagonist, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted more from him.
Fair.
I wanted him to, be fucking Chris Jericho.
Fair.
And he definitely wasn't. It made me want to watch Wolf Cop more, to be honest with you.
All right.
I wanted him to do the Walls of Jericho, and he didn't do it.
Nah, that was gonna be my only question. Did the walls of Jericho come down?
But I will say the ending, Chef's Kiss.
All right.
Chef's Kiss to the ending for sure.
Fair enough. Next up,
Darkest Miriam,
Yes.
which premiered at
Tribeca.
yes.
and we did not have the opportunity to see it there, but we got to see it here, and it stars Britt Lower from Severance and Man Seeking Woman, which that's a deep cut. If you've never seen that show, you should definitely find that show because it's fucking wacky.
Yeah.
Anyways, takes place in Toronto.
Cool.
She's a librarian, and she's just kind of living her life and just kind of experiencing the weirdness of Toronto.
Sure.
And she falls in a hole, and she just feels differently after she falls in the hole.
Oh, okay.
And you would expect it to get strange and weird, and it doesn't. It's more of like a somber love story.
Oh.
And again, another story about grief and trauma.
Interesting. Not where I was expecting it to go.
Not at all. Kind of took me off. Took me off guard. And the other lead is Tom Mercier, who plays Janko, and he's very good as well. Like, they're both great in it. It's just it didn't do it for me.
I kept expecting something to happen, and nothing happened. Like, I like the chemistry between the two main characters. Britt Lower is fantastic in this movie for sure.
Yes, for sure.
But it's a very somber, very silent, very I want to say like day in the life, kind of thing, because you're just on this ride with this woman as she goes through the weirdness, and it didn't do much. I was just kind of just like, well, that was that, and like I immediately forgot about it.
Fair.
And then the last one that we're going to rapid fire, we already mentioned it kind of earlier when we were talking about Aunt Timpson, is Bookworm.
Correct.
Which was opening night world premiere. It stars Elijah Wood and Nell Fisher.
Yes.
Who got casted in Stranger Things the week we saw Bookworm.
Yes.
So that's kind of cool.
Yes.
And we all got to see this one, obviously. And it's just kind of, what would we say? Something happens to this girl's mother, and she has to become acquainted with her estranged father.
Correct.
Who, like, it takes place in New Zealand, and her estranged father is American, and he's a magician, which Elijah Wood, illusionist. Sorry, he's an illusionist.
Doesn't like being called magician, Dave.
I'm sorry. And then they have to go into the New Zealand wilderness.
Yeah,
to kind of explore for one reason or another, and it just kind of goes from there.
Correct. Yep.
And I thought this movie was lovely.
I did too. It was kind of a family adventure romp in the wilderness of New Zealand. It's gorgeous to look at because New Zealand is just gorgeous.
Cinematography is absolutely incredible.
And Elijah Wood and Nell Fisher are great in this, and it was great. It was heartwarming, charming, and just kind of a lot of fun to watch. I really liked it the whole way through.
I agree. And it's Ant also worked on a film called Come to Daddy, which I watched kind of after I watched Bookworm, and they both I know Tony doesn't remember much about Come to Daddy, which is a lot. It's not quite as family friendly as Bookworm is.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But there's a moment in Come to Daddy that's like an oh shit turn of the dial.
Yeah.
And there's a similar one in Bookworm.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think that's just his motif where you're just like, okay. And, oh shit.
Yeah. Definitely. I need to say this movie was not on my radar.
Yeah.
I did not want it. To be honest with you, I didn't really feel like watching it. And it is my favorite of the festival.
Nice.
I fucking loved every minute of it.
Yeah.
It is so good, so heartwarming. So it just hits all the fucking feels.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. Agreed.
I agree with you as well. I really enjoyed it, and we're going to talk more about it when the film comes out later this year.
Correct.
So we're going to just
be back.
We're just going to put a pin in this
pin
one.
in that
Put a
for
pin
sure.
in it.
We're going to come back.
You can listen to our interview with Ann Timpson and maybe garner a few more of our thoughts out of there and get some more knowledge about it as we get closer to the film's actual release. But we will be back to talk more about it.
And that's about where we can stop with Fantasia, I think.
Yeah,
for now.
We still have a little bit left.
We'll move Fantasia to the back burner for the rest of this episode.
Yeah.
We definitely have some more left. So in our next episode, we will be covering off sort of the remainder here. Maybe a little Fantasia heavy as well as we get through it. But, we got to do what we got to do. And we got to tell you about the movies that you got to look out for later on because Fantasia's always delivered wild shit.
And we love Fantasia here at the Finger Guns with Tony, Dave, and James podcast. So, we're always going to be talking about Fantasia here. But until then, before we get to the main event, I think it is appropriate that we
briefly talk about
Lee Isaac Chung's Twisters.
Yes.
The director of Minari.
Yes.
He followed that up with
Twisters.
Tony, please indulge me and tell me about Twisters.
Well, there ain't no love in Oklahoma.
That's what I've been told.
Twisters. So this is a I would say legacy sequel.
It is
that
slash remake
that brings absolutely no one from the original back.
None. Zero. Although some people are dead, but carry on.
Bill Paxton has passed, and so is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, I understand that, but there's also like Helen Hunt and and anyone else that was in the original. Anyway,
literally anyone else.
Todd Field, the director of Tar.
Yes, absolutely.
Todd Field was in.
Yes,
he sure was.
Yes, he was. Carrie Elways.
Yeah. Well, he dies like a punk.
Yeah, he does die like a punk.
Spoiler alert for 1996's Twister.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Anyways, so tornadoes are tornadoing.
Yep.
And you have a I would say tornado scientist, I would say.
Sure.
You've
right.
been taking way too long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, you know what?
She experiences a trauma.
She experiences a trauma years later. She runs into this tornado wrangler, and the movie just kicks off. You know what?
All she wants to do is stop tornadoes.
That's all she wants to do. She wants to find a way to stop a tornado in its tracks, or find a way to better understand tornadoes in a way that they can warn people better and give them more of a heads up before.
Oh, absolutely not. That is the plot of the original Twister. This is stop tornadoes.
So, okay, fine. Stop tornadoes.
Like it might have started as that, before morphing into we want to stop tornadoes.
Yeah, this is straight up stop tornadoes.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
And Tony, if you feel it,
chase it.
Chase it. Chase it.
Chase it.
The reason why I took so long, because the plot doesn't fucking matter in this movie. It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
All that matters is Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yes.
And Glenn Powell.
Yep.
And if you want to take Daisy Edgar Jones out of the equation and just focus on Glenn Powell, just focus on Glenn Powell, because you know what? Instagram, TikTok, they're only focusing on Glenn Powell in this movie.
Well, there is that one scene where he walks out with a white shirt on in the pissing rain.
I was fully at midnight at that scene, Dave. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I bet you were.
I'm still upset he kind of threw me off or brushed me off at TIFF.
Well,
I wanted to talk. He knew. I wanted to talk to him, but he brushed me off.
He knew. He knew not to.
Yeah.
He didn't want you to pitch a tent right in front of him.
This is true. I did. I've been a big fan of Glenn Powell since what was it, Scream Queens?
Scream Queens.
Yeah, Chad Radwell. Chad Radwell. Yeah, I've been a big fan since then.
Yeah.
And he was in Spy Kids 3D.
Yeah. I was going to say Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, he sure was.
So we all saw this in 4DX, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Which is unfortunate.
I thought it was only there for like 4 days. I was only there for talking like to my coworker today. He was like, "Oh, you know what? I should go see Twisters in 4DX." I'm like, "Well, you can't. It's gone forever."
So I'm hoping that they can bring back Twisters in 4DX because it was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Like that movie was bananas in 4DX.
It has taken the ranking of 4DX movies that I've seen. It has now taken the top spot of best 4DX experiences.
Oh, really? So it beats out fucking Maverick. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, by ball hair, Tony, to use your parlance.
The parlance of the times, a ball hair.
Yeah. By a very, very slim margin, it beats out Maverick. But Maverick is very much right up near the top.
It was perfectly calibrated to this film because this movie is relentless with the way it moves and kind of throws you in the middle of tornadoes.
Yes.
And to that point, when it stops to get all science-y, it just stops dead.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
No. Get back to the tornadoes.
I want twins.
As someone on Instagram also pointed out, it is also very much a movie that is like, here's a really dramatic scene that the main character is going through. And here's a song describing exactly what we just showed you on screen. And then we're going to do it again. And here's a song describing exactly what you just saw on scene. Like word for word, like the song country lyrics are basically beating you over the head with the emotion you were supposed to take away from the scene that you're watching. I'm like, yeah, am I watching the movie? Like, I don't understand.
James.
Yeah.
There ain't no love in Oklahoma.
Yeah, we heard you, Tony.
I am aware, Tony. This is...
And there's just kind of like the ragtag group in the first film. You kind of love them all.
Yeah.
And they all kind of like get their little moment. And here you're just kind of like...
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah, there's Sasha Lane. There's Katie O'Brien. There's that dude from Nope.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
Cool.
You forgot about Anthony Ramos.
And Anthony Ramos, yes. And the guy who plays Superman. Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Don't care about any of them.
You don't give a shit.
I literally just told you guys. Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell.
Even that you don't really care.
Yeah. It just...
Well, Glenn Powell. Okay, Glenn Powell.
I don't know. It just... Yeah. Like, this movie treats its audience like they're fucking dumb. Which bothers me. It is a really fun 4DX experience, but like everything else about this movie could go fuck itself. It literally, all of the stars that I gave it on Letterboxd are mainly for the 4DX experience.
Yeah, I did not.
I was thrown around that theater.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That before the flash forward, the 5 years later or whatever. The amount of motion that I was being thrown through, like, because it happens, it builds, and you're just being like fucking like thrown around the room the entire time, and then it stops dead right afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's a great opening. Even without 4DX, it would be a great opening.
It's a very great opening, but that 4DX experience on top of that is like literally right after it went quiet, my entire theater just let out this like Ralph, I'm in danger. Like nervous laughter rolled through the theater. Like, what the fuck did we just get ourselves into? And it does not let up.
This is the kind of movie where you're kind of like, I wish I had a seatbelt for this.
Yeah.
Like I never did the Twister ride at Universal, but I feel like it's that for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the Universal Twister ride, and it was it's right? a little bit tamer than this.
Oh.
Like 4DX really throws you around. That one did, and it was wild and a lot of fun. But this is nuts. Like that's a level of motion that I was not prepared for.
Yeah. And I know it's not much of a spoiler because it's all over the internet type thing. I could care less that they didn't kiss at the end, but
I don't care.
It's kind of strange the way they set it up. Just as strange as it is where there's a build up to Maura Tierney showing up as her mom.
Yeah, and it's just fucking Maura Tierney.
Like, I love Maura Tierney.
Yeah.
I love Maura Tierney.
Yeah, when I say it's just, but like the way that it's presented, it was very much like what was it, Abigail?
Oh yeah,
where they're panning up and you're expecting this like super huge reveal, and then it's just like, oh, it's just that guy. Like it was very much, oh, it's just Maura Tierney.
Because you're waiting for it, right? And they're setting it up.
It's so obvious that this is where Helen Hunt should be.
Yeah, exactly.
This is exactly where Helen Hunt should be.
The entire time, like Dorothy's are being used and things like that. You're like,
Dorothy
oh shit,
5, yeah.
Oh shit, like we're gonna lead somewhere. Someone from the original's gonna be Nope, just
like I'm fine with him not playing into the nostalgia card. It's just kind of, if you're not going to play into it,
film it that way.
Don't film it that way.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to go with that kiss at the end of the movie, don't film it that way.
Yeah.
Don't make it obvious that you've changed the movie.
Yeah.
Like it should be a lot more organic.
Agreed.
But yeah, as a summer thrill ride, there's some great scenes in it. And it was awesome in 4DX, and it's probably still awesome to watch on a regular screen. But story-wise and character-wise, it's not very good.
Yep.
And the subplots are kind of, I don't know what they're going for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really think Twister belongs on the pedestal, but it's just a fun piece of 90s pulp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you just love the characters because
you're just
fun
kind of on board with it. Yeah.
They're just fun to hang out with.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And then you're just watching this, you're like, this isn't that fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
No. I had to be honest with you, I had a blast watching it. I know it's fucking cheese. I know it's garbage. I feel like between the 4DX, Melissa was very animated watching it, and I enjoyed watching her watch the movie.
Sure.
I think I'll have probably a different experience watching it a second time. But go see it in the movie. There's a hell of a lot worse you can be watching. Go have fun. Fair. Go have fun. Go see Twisters, man. See it in a theater. See it on the loudest screen that you can.
I guess.
If it's still around. If Deadpool hasn't fucking taken it over yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I was kind of on the other side of you. I was going to say, like, if you can find a way to watch it in 4DX, if they do something to bring it back, then I 100% run. Do not walk. Run and go see it in 4DX.
If it comes back, if it comes back to 4DX, I would love to go see that.
But otherwise, my recommendation is you can wait. It's fine. When it comes out on VOD or something, like watch it on, the biggest screen you have and the loudest sound system you have, because you'll get the experience. But do I think you need to rush out to a regular screening of Twisters?
No, it's not a rush. It's not a rusher. It's a Tuesday if you really want to.
If you really want to watch something.
But I think the experience of watching it in 4DX, we were kind of spoiled with that.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, a lot of people missed out on it, which sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
But I think that speaks more to the current tentpole system within Hollywood and how movies are brought out in these special formats where you only have a very small chance to see some of them stay there forever.
Right? Yeah. Depends on the timing of when they come out and what's around. Like Maverick was in 4DX for a while. So was Fast X.
But it's just
it's the way
the roll of the dice. So to me, it's kind of like if there's a movie like this in the future, or if there's another opportunity that it comes back out in 4DX, like you should definitely just go. Don't wait, just go.
Just do it. Yeah. It's a proven, to me now, I always used to think it was like really gimmicky, and I think in a lot of cases it still is. But if the right movie comes out, like, like a Top Gun Maverick, a Twisters,
Furiosa was pretty good too. There's a little too much downtime.
What you want is like that just sort of
consistency.
Like Fast X was there's enough going on that like it can sustain it.
Like if Fury Road came,
absolutely not. I would never.
If Fury Road came out,
4DX was fucking cool. Wild, dude.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get punched for 3 hours.
Well, that's a you thing.
Yeah,
maybe some other people want to get punched.
Yeah, fair. Fine.
I saw Rogue One in 4DX. That was all right. I kept getting like every time they were shooting, like I kept getting hit in the back.
Yeah. See, that's what I don't want. I want to be tossed like a ragdoll. I don't want the punches and the shots in the back.
The ghosts when they're driving the Ghostbuster like mobile thing in Ghostbusters, that was fun.
All
but
right.
the rest of it,
yeah.
But I only did that because of timing and because I had a coupon.
Fair.
But I guess this could be a great segue. They had the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer in 4DX.
They did.
Scored to Madonna's
Like a Prayer.
And the seat moved to the beat of the song, which I fucking love.
Moved to the beat of the song and tried to make everybody in the audience dance. Like it was like a shoulder lift, right side, sort of like you're just kind of. So when you look across the theater, everyone's just kind of like, oh yeah, this is fun. I love that.
I love that too.
That.
That was fun as shit.
Yeah, it was the first time I've sort of seen, like, I've seen trailers that took on the 4DX thing, but like that was like the first time it was like used to a successful marketing level, I think.
Yes. To which I say I didn't see Deadpool and Wolverine in 4DX, but
Absolutely
it was cool.
not.
It was very cool.
I did not.
It was very cool.
Absolutely
it was very cool.
not.
But yes, the main event is Deadpool and Wolverine, the newest film in the MCU. It brings back Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. It brings back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. There's a lot of cameos that we're going to get into in the spoiler section. But until we get there,
Yeah.
what are we going to say this movie is about? He has to
save his timeline.
He has to save his timeline from extinction, and he needs help from a Wolverine.
Yes.
And Wolverine doesn't quite want to help him. And, they have to team up to fight.
Yeah.
And
Reluctant friends.
Yeah.
Teaming up and learning more about each other. It's
and
a buddy cop movie.
That's kind of where I'll leave it without getting too deep into the spoilers. They do kind of address the Logan of it all pretty off the bat, which I'm kind of iffy about and how I feel about it.
Sure.
I'm not quite enamored by how they treat that. But they do, to that point, it's not, this Wolverine, quote unquote, is not the same quote unquote Wolverine that was in Logan.
Sure. Yes. I don't know how much we can continue to talk about this movie without ringing a spoiler bell, because there's so many things that I think are hinged on people not wanting to get spoiled.
Well, for the people at home, did you like the movie? Is it worth going to see? Is it as great as people have said? Is it as horrible as people have said? What did you think? General statement for the people that don't want to stick around for the spoilers. What did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine?
I had a lot of fun. I would say go see it if you're a fan of literally any part of one of these two characters. I think there's a lot of fun to be had in this movie. Yeah, I will leave that at that. It is fun. I had a fun time.
Mr. Tony.
It's a fun time. It's laugh out loud humor.
Yeah.
There's definitely jokes in here that you'll appreciate if you're a fan of X-Men, if you're a fan of Marvel in general. Definitely go see it. It's an improvement from Deadpool 2, I would say. Because I didn't really like Deadpool 2, to be honest with you. I hold the first one on the pedestal, but I'll get more into that later.
Sure.
But is it a good movie? No, it is not.
But it's fun. If you like these characters, if you want to have a good time and laugh at some jokes, you are going to get that.
Put it this way. After the opening, I said to myself, I'm going to fucking hate this.
Oh, all right.
And did I? I didn't quite hate it, but it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah, you landed somewhere in the middle.
It landed somewhere in the movie. There's fun to be had, but it is not a good movie.
Dave?
I think it's a lot of peaks and valleys.
Sure.
There are some highs and very low lows.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail right on the fucking head.
It. Peaks and valleys.
Like, there are some really great emotional scenes in this.
Yep.
There's a scene where Logan or Wolverine, we'll call him Wolverine because we can't call him Logan. Wolverine
Why can't we call him Logan?
Because he's not that
We'll
Logan.
We'll get
He's not
there.
that okay.
Either way,
We'll get
Wolverine
there.
is talking to Deadpool, and he kind of eviscerates Deadpool and like basically brings him down like every peg he could possibly bring him down.
Yeah.
And it's just like a really well done scene. Like just like the cadence in Hugh Jackman's voice when he's delivering this fucking like devastating monologue, and then you're looking at Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, or whoever's wearing the mask at that point, and like you can see the emotion on his, you can see the emotion through the mask. You know what he's feeling in that moment. And I thought that was a great scene. And there's some other really, really great scenes here. And there's a lot of humor. And there's some deep cuts. And like there's some like one-liners that you'll probably miss. Or you'll hear it and you'll be like, I can't believe they fucking said that. Just like in the other Deadpool movies. So in that respect, it's interesting that Marvel allowed it to still be a Deadpool movie.
Yes.
But on the same token, it feels it still feels sanitized. Like it's still bloody as fuck. And there's still a lot of people saying fuck. But it feels sanitized and it feels a little too happy-go-lucky. And it feels like they can't land on the proper tone. And Tony, you wrote this in your review on Letterboxd where you said just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And there's a lot of scenes where I'm like, just because you could do it, you shouldn't. I don't know if you should.
Doesn't mean that you should have.
That's literally what I turned to Melissa and she was like, "What'd you think?" And I said that exact fucking line.
Like
because like that is literally the fucking should be the tagline of this fucking movie.
Like I enjoyed it in the moment. I'm glad I saw it without the rambunctious crowd.
See, I saw it with the rambunctious crowd.
I know you both did. I didn't see it with such a rambunctious crowd because there's a moment early on that I laughed out loud and like the people in front of me were like, what the fuck is with this guy type thing? And I was like, it's fucking funny. But I feel on a rewatch that I will not enjoy it as much. Similar to Deadpool 2. I like Deadpool 2 a lot the first time I saw it, but every time I've watched it since, it's not as good.
It's going to be one of those movies that we're going to look back in like 5 years and we're just going to be, the fuck was that? Like no one's going to rewatch this. It is not rewatchable.
And that's funny that you guys bring that up, right? Because like I really wanted to watch Once Upon a Deadpool, like the redone version of Deadpool 2, and I wanted to watch it after I watched Deadpool and Wolverine. But after I got through Deadpool and Wolverine, I was like, I've had enough. I can't do this. I can't do this again.
There was actually other things that have made me want to watch instead. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But like, there's other movies that made me want to watch. But certainly, no part of me was like, oh, you know what? I need to watch Deadpool 2.
I'll get there eventually. But like, I need a fucking break.
It's not. I watched it in the lead up. It's not very good.
No,
it's an interesting experiment, but it's not very good. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's like a step in the right direction for the MCU because of what it's like. Now we know that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Doomsday, which whatever the fuck, and that they just canned the whole Kang storyline, which is like, all right,
whatever the fuck,
cool. That's a hell of a pivot. But it's just kind of like, I don't know if they've learned the lesson here. Because it's very successful, and I don't know if they're going to learn the lesson here of less is more, or just because you could do it, you did it type thing. But I also kind of like the fact that they might be keeping them separate still, at least until Secret Wars
for now.
So I kind of like that, but I really don't know how it's going to hold up on a rewatch.
I don't.
I really don't.
I might rewatch it maybe once, but I know at some point I'm just never going to watch this movie again.
Like, so you don't want me to get the Steelbook?
I'm good.
Unless it's if it's a good Steelbook, though.
Don't care.
All right.
I really don't.
Even if it's like shaped like the popcorn bucket that we didn't get in Canada?
Even still, no. Because I have a Deadpool popcorn bucket. I have the OG one when it's just this head.
They brought that one back out.
Yeah, I know. I saw on the thing. I was like, oh, I have that.
But it's not Wolverine's mouth.
It is not.
phallic or very.
It is not
very phallic looking thing.
That's fine.
But yes, so that if you don't want to hear the more spoilery thoughts, because I think that we can get into it deeper with the spoiler talk, unlike other films where we can dance around it. I don't think we can dance around it as much here.
Yeah.
So if you want to jump off,
now's the time.
Now is the time.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. There's nothing
after this.
Spoilers. There's not. This is where we're going to end it off for the night. So if you haven't seen it yet, pause it here. Come back to us after you've watched it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't care about the spoilers, please.
Then plow on through.
Plow on through, and you'll hear the unedited thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening, of course, and
you've been warned.
All right, so I'm back. At this point, we're going to fully end the episode. Thank you so much for listening, as we kind of have said in here for you. But flip over to the next episode where we get into nonstop spoiler talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. We appreciate every single one of you for listening thus far. And if you choose to avoid all the spoilers, we'll catch you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.